Hello everyone, welcome back. In previous lecture, we just displayed a basic HTML response, right? So we have created Spring Boot web application and simply returning HTML response, right? So now let's understand after clicking this, after sending this request web page. The moment I send web page request and then I got the response our first web application. So now we just returning simple basic HTML content, right? So now uh, let me write another message. Welcome to Java Cafeteria. Okay. So let's check now what will happen. So I just saved the file and refresh the browser. So message content was changed. So now let me explain what is happening in background after sending this request. Okay. So let's assume this one is a web browser. Web browser. And this one will be our web server. So from the browser we are sending request, right? And from the web server we are getting response. So let me open the browser. So whenever we are sending the request from the web browser, so it will send request to server, web server. Here browser is nothing but, so the browser which I have opened here. So I just opened the browser, Chrome browser. I have just opened it. From here I just send the request. What is that request? Localhost colon 8080 slash web page. This is the URL to access our web page, right? So let me note it down. Right, request will be http colon slash slash localhost colon 8080 slash web page. So we got response as HTML. Right, we got HTML response. So internally what we can call it as a let me open the browser and let me open developer console on the browser. We'll debug in depth. So here there is a different kind of CS. If you open the developer console, there is a tab called network. How you can open? Just press function F12, or some of the laptop you can directly press F12, or some laptops you can press directly function plus F12, or you can display another way. Right click and you can see here, see here inspection should be there. Okay, anyway, so just click on F12 and here you can see there is a tab called network tab. So just click on that network tab and click on web page localhost colon 8080 slash web page. Click again. I'm trying to send the request. We'll see what will happen. So you can see once I send the request, some request is went to the server. So here you can click on, there is a data doc, there is a doc menu is available here, right? So click on that doc, you can see the request went, what kind of request it went, you can see directly slash web page http colon slash slash web page. Just click on that. So if you click on that, you can see here all the request and response. So what kind of request we sent and what kind of request response we got. So you can see here, if you observe, so requested URL, so this is the requested URL we sent to the web server. So web server is nothing but, some people may got confused actually. So our web browser is nothing but Chrome browser that we are using currently. So web server, what is the web server? Web server nothing but nothing, our application, our Spring Boot application is nothing but our web server. So this whenever you are starting the application, this application will deploy into Tomcat server, right? So Spring Boot application by default using Tomcat server. So Tomcat, inside that Tomcat server, our application will be deployed internally. So all together we can call it as a web server. So our Spring Boot application nothing but one web server. So now we send request http colon localhost colon 8080 slash web page. Request went to the web server, and then web server will process that request and it will send response back to the browser. Whatever response we are returning, so the same response will be back to our web browser. So web browser can understand only HTML content, right? So that's the reason I have written code in as I have written code HTML, so that browser can understand very easily. So internally this request is nothing but, you can see here, so in browser request URL will be slash web page, and what is the request method? Get method, right? So if you go to your server, what kind of request this web page URL will accept? So it will accept get mapping. That means request method will be, HTTP request method will be get request. So that is what here we are able to see here, get request. This URL will be get request, and status code 200 nothing but, so request went to the server and response came back to the client. So that is the meaning of 200. Okay, status code, response status code is 200. Okay, so request went successfully and response came successfully. So similarly remote address nothing but 8080, so port number, so colon 1 in the sense local host and 8080, and then so remain, you can see is there any headers are available, this we can see later. So you can see content type is HTML, text or HTML. So you can see here there is a preview also, you can see, if you click on preview you can see what kind of response we got, and you can select response, you can see what kind of response it is, a HTML content, we got HTML content response. And timing, how much time it taken, started at 1.70 milliseconds. So duration, so request went and response came within 1.70 milliseconds, right? You can see here, look up, and how much time it is taken to send the request and how much time it's taken to get the response. So all the information you can see here. So total request and response processed in 37.38 milliseconds. So those kind of information also we can debug in browser. See request and response, left hand side you can see request and response. Request processed request processed time will be, you can see right side 0.23 milliseconds. And web server waiting for server response, so almost 9.80 milliseconds. So content download, so all together once response request sent and once response back completely all together 37.38 milliseconds. So all the things you can debug here. You can see initiate, this request has no initiator data. So now here response that we can check later. So response we got it as a html content. So here we are displaying html, so as it is displaying, right? So let me put it as a html. So now just send the request again and go to your network menu, and you can select doc and select your requests, and you can see html content came successfully. Welcome to Java Cafeteria, right? So this is our first web application we just created. So this is how we can debug our request and response in browser. Is there any headers available? As of now we haven't sent any headers. So there is a get request and we got successful response 200. And what is the port number of request? 8080. And you can see preview, you can see. So the response we got from here, so same preview we can debug in developer console. And response, you can see what kind of response. So this is the one, welcome to Java Cafeteria. This one is a html content, right? So like that we can debug. If is there any css available, we can check. Is as of now there is no css files loaded. If you check, is there any font? Nothing. Image, nothing are there. So if your application contains these are all those things, you can debug or you can track easily. This is how you can debug request and response in developer console. In browser, we can debug our request and response with the help of developer console. And also you can check, you can see here there is a selector here. Just click on that and go and select the Java Cafeteria. So you can see directly HTML content completely here. See right hand side. So I am using red color. So we can change it here also. Instantly we can change and check. See how we can change. So since it is a direct, I have hard coded, right? That's the reason we are unable to change. Here we can put it here. There is a style, right? See. So here I want to put under something like style background color. I want to set background color back heroine background color colon. So I want to put blue color. See background color blue came. So instantly we can test it by using developer console. Font style and background colors, anything if you want to align. So if you want to put it in center, so if you want to change the font size, so everything we can do it here. See, so like that we can debug in developer console. So going forward, so whenever we are creating one any big project, so that time we'll do all those things. Okay, so here you got the idea, like, so we can debug in browser. So what is the request and what is the response? You can go to network and select data and click on your request. You can see request headers, preview and response and timings. Request and response timings also you can check it here. Okay, so now let's go to our project. So now earlier before this class we have created one html, right? So I want to display this html as part of the response. So I want to display same html as part of the response, web page response. So how we can do that? Just we need to copy this entire html and go to your server and replace it. So this is very difficult. So if you just copy paste here, see there is a number of lines of code. So here I just copied as it is, control S, right? I just copied as same html whatever I have created, sample html. So now I will check in the browser what will happen. web page. See, I am able to get that sample HTML file which is having first name, last name, email, mobile number. So we can write view layer, view logic we can write inside the controller as well, but this is a plain HTML. If you want to display dynamic data, that will be another problem. So we have to send like a plus symbol, we can add plus symbol. I can send for example 20 number. I want to set the data something like that. Just check it here dynamically what will happen. See here 20 is displayed. So this will be time consuming process, and also if your web pages are very big, then maintaining HTML in the code is very difficult, and also whenever you are doing changes in your HTML, it will not reflect immediately, so we need to restart the server every time. So let me prove that as well. So let me stop the server as of now. So go to your form.xml. So earlier we added developer tools, right? So because of that, server, whenever we are doing changes in uh, Java class, every time server will restart automatically, right? I just want to comment this code, this dependency. I just want to comment it out. So I also remove as of now. Let me remove. So control save, and then let me, whenever you are doing some modification in your pom.xml, what we have to do, we have to update the project. Right click and move in and update. So I just removed the dependency. Now our server will not restart every time. So now go to your web controller. So now I want to change the view. So let's say I want to add instead of please enter first name, right? So I want to change something else. So let me add some request body. How I can add? Let me go to here directly. So I want to add request body. Let's add it here, otherwise there I have to uh, copy paste I have to do. Instead of that, just body. I want to add body. So this form, entire form should be inside the body. So HTML will have body tag, right? So inside that I want to display some text. So h1 or h1. So specific style I am using. So now here I want to use a user form. Done. Now we just need to copy paste. Copy and go to your server and just delete it and paste it. Control yes. So I just saved it, and now one second. Let me, before adding it, what I want to show you. Let me start the server. Yeah, server started successfully. So now go to your browser. We are able to display the web page, right? We are able to display the web page HTML content, and now I want to change now. So earlier we don't have user form, right? I just added one new line, user form. Let me update this with user form. Let me copy everything, and just you can modify here also, guys. I just want to copy paste. So now that's it. So now we have added user form. Now I will not server, I will not restart the server. So what will happen, whether that user form is going to display or not, we'll see. So here I have added user form, right? This should display. Now go to your browser and refresh. See, changes are not reflected. Changes are not reflected. So what does it mean? So whenever, if you add in your Java class directly HTML content, if any changes if you do, you have to restart the server. Until unless without restarting the server, what will happen, your changes will not reflect in the browser. So if you want to reflect those changes in your browser, what you have to do, so then you have to stop the server. Again you have to start the server. So this is one more drawback. So writing HTML inside the controller, whenever you are doing some modification, every time your server you have to restart, otherwise your changes will not reflect. I just restarted the server, right? I just started the server again. Now you can see, click enter, now changes are reflected. User form, so user form came, right? So the changes which I have made. So maintaining HTML inside the controller will be very difficult, and dynamic to display dynamic data also difficult. And whenever is there any changes, if you did in your controller, every time you have to restart the server. So lot of drawbacks. So this HTML content you can display another way also, guys. So how we can display, so let me show you. So take one string here, private string HTML content is equal. So there is a so many people don't know this actually. See, if you want to display a large type of text, if you want to display a large type of text in a string, then you can define this triple string. So see here, this kind of characters if you define like this, so large text you can copy paste here easily. So now just copy paste that HTML as it is here. See, so now this view, control A, control shift F4, you organize the code properly. See now, you can see proper HTML code by specifying HTML content is equal within the triple string codes. So within the triple code string we can define large scale of string data. So now we just need to return this HTML content. We just need to return this HTML content, that's it. Now here we can change the data properly. So now I just modified the code, right? So let me, instead of user form and first web application, so let me go to the browser and refresh the URL. Changes are not reflected. Why? Because we need to restart the server. So let me restart the server. So many drawbacks, guys. If we are maintaining HTML content in controller and displaying in browser, it will be very difficult. Why I am doing these things? So you have to understand what is the drawback writing view layer content inside the web controller. So now I just server restarted, right? So now go to browser and refresh. So user form and first web application displayed successfully. This is how you can display HTML content in web controller. So it has limitations, right? So every time you have to modify every time you have to restart the server. So because of that, to overcome this kind of problem, so earlier when you are writing servlet JSP programming, that time in servlets if you are using, so view layer, business logic, everything in one place. So maintaining all the business logic in one class is, it will be very difficult. So Spring Boot came into picture as a structured oriented layer. So presentation layer should be separate, and view layer should be separate, and database layer should be separate. So now I will remove this HTML content and I'll go with view layer. We can maintain view layer in JSP, Java Server Page. So that is the reason we are using JSPs to instead of maintaining HTML content inside the web controller, we can create separate view to display the web page in browser. So now how we can do that? We have to create JSP file. So let me, so for that purpose what we have to do, so if you want to display the JSP, we need to remove this response body and then we have to create JSP. So that I will explain you in next lecture, guys. So in this lecture you guys are learned, so what is the drawback writing view layer inside the controller, and we have a limitation. So every time we need to restart the server whenever you are modifying the code, and maintaining HTML will be difficult inside the web controller. And also if you want to display any dynamic data also very difficult. So in next lecture, how we are going to overcome these problems with the help of JSP, Java Server Pages. Thank you guys, we'll catch you in next lecture. Overall, watching newly, you can subscribe my channel and watch all the videos and learn Spring Boot framework skills. Okay, so you can go to youtube.com/@ Rasul hyphen Sheikh slash playlist, or you can type Java cafeteria in your YouTube, then you can search this channel. Okay, so you have a lot of videos here. If you subscribe, you will get all the latest every day. Okay guys, thank you so much. If you like the video, please subscribe and share.